everybody, this is Robbie Parker, and I'm going to be joined by two special guests today, the Porch Man and Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews, and we're going to be reviewing the new movie, Roofman. So before I get into my part, I'm going to let my guests do their parts first. So first up is going to be the Porch Man and stuff. I'm letting him go first since I got his videos and stuff downloaded first and everything. So I'm going to let you go first, Porch Man, and next time, if we all three do a collab, Big D gets to go first, to make it fair. But go ahead and take it away, Porch Man.
What's up, guys? The Porch Man here. The Porch. And I want to thank you, Robbie Parker. I'm going to be joining him for this review of Roofman. And I gotta say, man, this is based off a true story. I think a guy named Jeffrey Manchester, who was basically this crook who would go into people's roofs, stores' roofs, and take stuff. And I gotta say, I think Channing Tatum does a pretty good job. Kirsten Dunst, I haven't seen her in forever, so it was cool seeing her on screen. Story-wise, though, I think it lacks kind of that thrill in my book. I think the movie gets pretty depressing pretty quick, so it does tug on the old heartstrings, you know. I think the chemistry they have on screen is pretty dang good. Peter Dinklage did crack me up. He was funny, but he was kind of a jerk. Overall, I think Roofman's a decent and pretty good watch. Is it the best of the year, worst of the year? For me, I mean, it's kind of right in the middle. But I think it was still a pretty fun movie, so thank you, brother, for letting me on here, and see you in the next one. Take care.
Thank you, Porch Man. It was awesome to have you on here and stuff. I really enjoyed your review and everything, and I appreciate having you on here. I look forward to collabing and stuff with you more in the future and everything, so now I'll let Big D do his turn, so take it away, Big D.
Hey everyone, this is the Big D, and I'm going to be collabing with Robbie as we talk about the 2025 crime dramedy flick Roofman, which I had recently reviewed on my channel, Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. First of all, this is a film based on the true story of real-life street robber Jeffrey Manchester, who hid out in a Toys R Us after escaping a prison, and is loosely based on his life. Channing Tatum plays Manchester, and I must say he does an exceptionally good job on this part, and I think this is what proves to be another great performance of his. This also has a pretty good cast as well. Supporting cast, that is. Kirsten Dunst is in this, and I'm going to say she's absolutely incredible in this. I do love her performance in this. Ben Mendelsohn's really good, Lakeith Stanfield's good, and Peter Dinklage as well. I like the various sayings around Roofman, especially the Toys R Us. I gotta say, that's really something. Derek Cianfrance, who directed this film and also co-wrote the screenplay, definitely did a real good job on this. But anyway, I have to admit, after watching this in the theater, I thought Roofman was really something. It had a lot of potential to it. Especially like how Jeffrey gets dragged into the life of this gal who works at Toys R Us, Lee Wainscott. Lee Wainscott is Kirsten Dunst's character, and I've got to say, this is one of the best performances she's delivered in some time. I did like her in Civil War. As for Peter Dinklage as the Toys R Us General Manager Mitch, that's really a good performance. But of the whole, from my point of view, I think Roofman is exceptionally a good film, and I'd say it is just so good. With its great atmosphere and great characters, since this is based on a true story. So I think this is the film that y'all should check out. I really enjoyed this. If you're a part of my Big D Nation on Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews, check out my spoiler-free review of it. So, as always, thank you for making me a part of this, Robbie. And until then, this is the Big D saying see ya.
Okay, thank you again, Big D and Porch Man, for joining me on this video. It's great having y'all on here and everything, and I'll get into my part. So in this movie, a former Army Ranger and struggling father turns to robbing McDonald's restaurants by cutting holes in the roofs and earning him the nickname Roofman. After escaping prison, he secretly lives in a Toys R Us for 6 months, surviving undetected while planning his next move. But when he falls for a divorced mom drawn to his undeniable charm, his double life begins to unravel, setting off a compelling and suspenseful game of cat and mouse as his past closes in. So, I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I think it's a really great movie. Channing Tatum is really great as Jeffrey Manchester, definitely one of his absolute best performances. And Jeffrey Manchester is a guy that I remember seeing on the news back in the early 2000s. And stuff. I remember seeing the news stories about a man that was sleeping inside of a Target, and then also Toys R Us and everything. It's the same guy and everything, and he had been sleeping in Toys R Us and stuff and robbed them and stuff. I totally remember that and everything. Like, if I remember right, the day that that news article aired on TV, it was around the same time as Jim Varney dying and stuff. I remember it vividly and stuff, that someone had been staying in a Toys R Us and everything. And I always thought that was a really crazy story, and it's crazy that it's a movie now. Kirsten Dunst is really great in here. She is really likable as Jeffrey's love interest. She has really great chemistry with him, and she gives a really just great performance and everything. She's just a really likable person. The character she plays is a really likable person and stuff. And I've seen interviews with Kirsten Dunst and Channing Tatum talking about the characters they play in real life and how they've met the people and how they're really good people. And like they've both said that Jeffrey Manchester it's not really a bad person. He just made a lot of bad mistakes, and that's kind of the message of the movie too. I'll get into that in a minute, but it was really cool seeing how Kirsten Dunst played the character after seeing her interview and stuff, and she did a good job. Ben Mendelsohn is in here too. He doesn't have a big role and everything. In fact, his role is kind of small, but he's just really likable. And he plays this preacher and stuff at the church that Jeffrey goes to and stuff, and he's just really a likable character. And Ben Mendelsohn just is really great at playing. It's kind of a little bit of a different role than what I'm used to him playing. But Keith Stanfield is also really good too. He's a small role, but always welcome when he's one of those actors. And anytime he pops up in anything, I always get excited because I think he's just really likable, charismatic actor that also kind of don't feel like gets quite the credit he deserves yet. I don't think he's fully hit his mark yet and everything, but he's a really great actor that deserves more credit than he gets. And Peter Dinklage is also amazing in here. Every time I see him in a movie, I always think like he just gets better and everything. Like his acting just gets so much better, and he doesn't do a whole lot in this movie, but he's just really great in the little role that he's in, and he really shows off that, you know, he has really good screen presence, just really likability and stuff, and he really plays the character really well and everything, and gives a really great performance and everything. And the people who inspired this movie, they all seem like really good-hearted, likable people and everything. And it's great how awesome the cast did playing these characters and everything, and playing these people who are just, not just movie characters but real life people. Just, the story is engaging. You instantly connecting with and care about Jeffrey and his friends and family and stuff, and how it affects everybody around him and stuff. You get drawn into the story, and you care about how these characters are going to react to him and stuff, and his past and everything, and it's just really well done and everything. Like, I just really enjoyed that. And I like how this movie paints him as a human and stuff, and not just a criminal and everything. Like, they could have easily gone down that route, everything, but they paint Jeffrey as a human and stuff. Like he's flawed and everything. You want to root for him to do the right thing, even though you know he's not going to. And even though he does make bad decisions, they make it clear that he's not necessarily a bad person. He's just done bad things. Like, and like Channing Tatum said in his interview that, like, everybody could be considered a bad person at some point in their past. Everybody has a part in their past that they're not proud of and stuff like that, but they're still human, and everybody makes mistakes and stuff. And even though he did make mistakes and everything, he obviously wasn't a terrible person. And like, even a lot of the people that he robbed and stuff, he was very nice to and everything. And the movie plays into that and plays it up for laughs, but like, it does show that, like, even though the guy made a lot of mistakes and did things that he shouldn't have and everything, he also did try to do some good too. I wouldn't say, like I said, he's not a hero, he's not a super great person, he's a flawed person, but that's one of the things that I like about this movie, is that the message of humanity and how people make mistakes and aren't perfect and stuff. Like, you can be a flawed person and still not be a fully terrible person and everything. Like, and I just like that message. You don't get that in Hollywood nowadays very often. I hope that we start getting more movies like this, where, you know, they paint people in not just a bad light for their mistakes and stuff. Like they show that, like, even though he's made a lot of terrible choices and stuff, he at the end of it, he does have a heart, and he is human, only human and stuff. And that's what this world needs to get back to, is realizing people are only human and stuff. And there are certain crimes and stuff that definitely shouldn't be forgiven or whatever, but robbing and stuff like that, you can change from that and everything. You can change your ways, everything. But I do love, like, the character work in this movie. The nostalgia of seeing Toys R Us is awesome too. Like, I grew up in the 90s and 2000s, so and everything. I was like 6 or 7 years old at the time period this movie was set, so I have a lot of nostalgia for that time period and everything. And they did a really good job making you feel like you're in that era and everything. So as far as negatives go, I feel like it gets a teeny tiny bit slow in the middle, and not real bad though. It's not enough to run the movie, but it does have a little bit of a slow pacing in parts of it and everything, but also a lot of it pays off by the end of the movie, so it's not really that part's more of a mixed part than a negative. And I will say some of the humor is a miss. It didn't ruin the movie at all for me and everything, but that's just, I feel like comedy nowadays is just really tame and stuff. And this one gets more of a pass because it's based on a true story, so, and everything. And I think they blend the humorous moments with the more serious moments and heartfelt moments throughout the movie really well. So I don't really complain as far as the tone and stuff goes, and everything. So, but I think this is a really good movie. So all in all, Roofman is absolutely amazing. It's one of the best movies of the year for sure, and it's just a really good time. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. And everything. It's a very surprising movie for me. I'm someone who has kind of been a Channing Tatum hater for years and stuff, and this movie has just really made me gain respect for him as a person and as an actor and everything. I think this is easily his best performance and stuff, and I also will say that it actually makes me excited to see him in future stuff. Like I can't believe I'm saying that, but he was really great in this movie and everything. So I'd say I'd give Roofman an 8.5 out of 10. It's a really, really great movie. That rating could go up and stuff on rewatch and stuff, but just with the one-time watch, it's 8.5 so far. And everything, I could totally see this being a movie that I rewatch quite a bit and stuff once it gets out on Blu-ray and stuff, because I really enjoy this movie quite a bit. So anyway, thank you guys for watching and everything. Please go see Roofman if you haven't seen it. It's definitely worth checking out and everything. It's a really, really good movie. This is one of those stories that's reality is stranger than fiction. You think this is made up and stuff, or that they made up a lot of stuff, but they really do show like clips and stuff of the past and everything, of things that they recreated specifically for the movie. And there might be a little bit of differences to the real life stories, like little changes, but I don't think there really was much. And they tried to keep it as accurate as they could and everything, and I like that about this movie. Like they kept it accurate while also not painting him out to be this horrible person and everything. I've never met him and stuff, but just from everything I've heard and seen, it sounds like he just made some mistakes and everything. And I don't think that his sentencing was done the way it should have been. And I saw an interview of him saying that like one of the reasons they wanted the movie to get made is to maybe get his sentence lightened and stuff, because 45 years and stuff is a little long time. But at the same time, I also understand you gotta have consequences for your actions too. But maybe they can reduce it just a tiny bit and everything. But and everything, we'll see. But this is a pretty good movie and everything. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of this movie. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.